To change our belts, we'll need a skate tool, a 3mm hex wrench, 2 replacement belts, and 6 socket head screw caps. A quick note about the socket cap screws. It's important to buy screws with the nylon patch, which is the yellow spot on the thread you see here. Over time, as you reuse a screw, the nylon patch wears off, and it's not uncommon to lose these as you ride. If you're changing out belts, it's a good idea to swap these screws out with a fresh set. Now that we have everything we need, the first thing we want to do is reduce the amount of tension on the self-tensioning belts and make it a little easy on ourselves to remove the motor wheels. To do this, we need to undo the 2 socket head screws located closest to the wheel using our 3mm hex wrench. There's no need to remove the screws just yet. Go ahead and leave them in their places for now. The third screw holds the motor hub in place. We'll leave that one alone. Once we have done that, we can now slide the motor back and give ourselves slack on the belt. To lock the motor in this position, simply hold the motor in place with one hand and retighten the screws with the other. This will lock everything down in place and allow us to remove the wheel with ease. Once you have removed the lug nut and washer, pull outward while simultaneously rotating the wheel to remove it. With the wheel removed, we can now take out the 2 screws holding the motor in place. Without the wheel in the way, we can now see how much tension is being kept on the pulley as we remove the 2 screws. The third screw, responsible for holding the motor hub in place, can now also be removed. With all 3 screws taken out, we can now move the motor hub to the side, exposing the inner pulley and motor. Remove the old belt along with any remaining parts, such as the large inner bearing you see here. With the old belt removed, insert a new belt, being sure to slip it over the motor pulley as well as the axle. Replace the motor hub and secure it with the rear socket cap screw. Before we replace the wheel, we will need to re-secure the motor into the back position, which will provide us the slack we need to properly seat the belt onto the wheel pulley. Just like we did before, hold the motor in place with one hand and tighten the screws with the other in order to lock the motor in place. Place the wheel on the axle and begin turning it slowly while also feeding the belt onto the pulley. This part can be a little tricky, but eventually the belt will catch on and the wheel can be fully installed by simply rotating it and pushing it inward. Secure the wheel onto the axle using your skate tool, washer, and lug nut. Lastly, we want to re-establish the proper tension on the newly installed belts. This is an important step because improper tension on the belts can lead to faster than normal wear. To do this, unscrew the 2 tensioning screws till you see the motor slide forward. When stopped, retighten the screws to secure the motor position. Be sure not to over-tighten the socket cap screws, as doing so can strip the threads. And that's it! You successfully changed the belts on your boosted board. Thanks for watching, guys. For spare belts and screws, ROMP Supply has you covered. Check out the links below and see you next time.